sometimes you gotta just take a little mini reset and bounce back better than before. I hope everybody been doing good. Today I'll be reading Financial Literacy for All by John Hope Bryant, one of my favorite books. And I'll be talking about the civil rights issue of our generation. Rest in peace, Dr. Martin Luther King, it just passed. So yeah, I'll be reading the civil rights issue of our generation from the Financial Literacy for All by John Hope Bryant. So, I believe that financial literacy is the civil rights issue of the generation. This is a bold statement to make, but I believe it wholeheartedly. Let me explain why. Understanding the language of money was the central piece of the puzzle to President Lincoln and Frederick Douglass' peace plan. After the Civil War, as it was Martin Luther King Jr. and Reverend Andrew Young's Progress Plan in the 1960s, I believe that it's also central to our current purpose plan, what I call America's upgraded business plan. Securing financial literacy rights for Americans, especially African Americans, is as important to success and life today as the achievement of the right to vote. To vote was in the 1960s in America. The United States has been land of opportunity, a place where any person can pull themselves up by their bootstraps and achieve the American dream. The cornerstone of this dream lies in the U.S. free enterprise system, which is rooted in the principles of this economic freedom and opportunity. In theory, this system is open to all, regardless of race, ethnicity, or socioeconomic background, but theory and practice often diverge. And in the case of Black Americans, Native American Indians, and other racial and social minorities, has been a chasm. Far too many Americans, and not just Black ones, don't have the basic building blocks to be successful in our system. Yes, basic math and accounting are part of it, but financial literacy isn't just about money. It's about the freedom to make choices, the confidence to take control of our lives and our communities, and the opportunity to shape our own futures. Who is teaching your community? Whatever community you belong to about financial literacy at scale, African Americans were literally denied the opportunity of this knowledge. Poor whites were sold and continue to be sold lies about the financial realities they face. Just keep on trucking and you'll be taken care of. Foreigners and minorities are coming for your jobs. They're the problem. Today, immigrant communities and our growing Latin American communities face cultural and language barriers to understanding and participating fully in the system. These knowledge gaps are complicating our progress as a nation. That's broken capitalism. What's going on, y'all? Thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate it. In today's world, no one is teaching us our financial lives, how to create a balanced budget, or how to run a household, let alone how to build wealth. 70% of the U.S. economy is based on consumer spending, yet 60% of all Americans are living from paycheck to paycheck. According to funding from the 2023 reality check, Paycheck to Paycheck research series conducted by Lending Club Corporation in partnership with Payments. Of course, we need a new business plan. The extent of financial literacy in the United States. Financial literacy runs wide and deep in America, impacting individuals from all walks of life. It is a persuasive issue stretching across geographic, social, and economic, and racial lines from Wall Street to Main Street, from Silicon Valley to the Rust Belt. A lack of financial literacy continues to undermine the prosperity and security of Americans. Consider this. A recent study from the National Financial Educators Council estimated that a lack of financial knowledge cost Americans a staggering $388 billion in 2023 alone. To put that figure into context, it rivals the annual revenues of tech giants like Amazon and Apple. It's equal to the GDP of countries like Ireland, Denmark, Singapore, and Finland. This sum isn't abstract. It's composed of the individual losses that millions of people across our nation suffer. The cause of these losses range from fees and charges, which accumulate into significant sums over time, to poor investment decisions and missed opportunities for wealth creation. To appreciate the gravity of these statistics, consider the decisions that all of us make. Decisions about managing debt, saving for the future, investing in ourselves and our children, buying homes, and preparing for retirement. Each of these decisions has a financial component, and without the necessary knowledge, we can make mistakes that cost us both in the present and the future. I'm going to say that again. That costs us both in the present and the future. This might still seem abstract, so let's break it down to a more personal level. Suppose you're faced with a decision about taking on a $10,000 car loan. The dealer offers you a loan with a high interest rate because, as they tell you, your credit score is low. Without a clear understanding of interest rates, loan terms, and credit scores, you might accept the high interest rate loan, not knowing that there are better options available. Over the life of the loan, the high interest rate will cost you thousands of dollars more than necessary. Say you decided instead to purchase that $10,000 car using a regular credit card carrying a percentage rate of 14%. And then you decide to only pay the minimum due each month. The result is that you will end up paying more than 100% of the original purchase price, cost of the car in 10 years, while never actually paying down the principal of the actual car at all. Think about it. Far too many of us go into a car dealership and only ask, what's the payment? Financial Literacy 101 never just asks what the payment is. of anything. When there is an interest rate attached, always find out the terms of the loan. Here's something else no one tells you. A car dealership consists of 3 actual businesses, with the actual selling of cars being the least profitable of the 3. The financing and automotive maintenance departments are much more profitable. We can look at retirement next. Many people don't start saving for retirement early enough, often because they lack an understanding of compound interest or don't realize the significant tax advantages of retirement accounts. But not saving and investing early on in life, they lose out on potential earnings that could have compounded over time, significantly padding their retirement nest egg. And that's and what about if they work for an employer with a funded match 401k program without a financial education? They could be walking right past real money in their pocket. If there's a program that matches employees dollar for dollar, that means that the $5,000 that were contributed in a year is nearly $10,000. That's $5,000 of free money that's going to be compounded over their lifetime. With all of this in mind, consider the cost of being financially illiterate when making these 1 or 2 decisions. Now multiply that cost by all the decisions you make in your lifetime that have a financial component. The silent cost affecting our communities. Hope you guys are enjoying it, y'all. I appreciate it for y'all tuning in, Hope everything been going well with y'all. Let me see. What's going on? There are more homeless people here than actual people with homes and a good job. Yeah, there's a lot of people that lack financial literacy and working paycheck to paycheck. So it's really key to learn about financial literacy and how to save money and invest money. So it won't just be sleeping. It will be doubling and tripling in time. Investments is key. And y'all might not be on it now, but I believe in time, y'all will be. Say you decided, instead to purchase that $10,000 car using a regular credit, carrying a percentage rate of 14%, and then you decide to only pay the minimum due each month. The result is that you will end up paying more than 100% of the original purchase price cost of the car in 10 years, while never actually paying down the principal of the actual car at all. Think about it. Far too many of us go into a car dealership. Okay, I want to read this again. That's why I'm going over it. Far too many of us go into a car dealership at all and only ask, what's the payment? Financial Literacy 101. Never just ask what the payment is of anything. Where there is an interest rate attached, always find out the terms of the loan. Here is something else no one tells you. A car dealership consists of 3 actual businesses, with the actual selling of cars being the least profitable of the 3. The financing and automotive maintenance departments are much more profitable. Excuse me. We can look at retirement next. Many people don't start saving for retirement early enough, often because They lack an understanding of compound interest or don't realize the significant tax advantages of retirement accounts. By not saving and investing early on in life, they lose out on potential earnings that could have compounded over time, significantly padding their retirement nest egg. And what's about if they work for an employer with a funded match 401k program? Without a financial education, they could be walking right past real money in their pocket. If there is a program that matches employees dollar for dollar, that means that $5,000 that they contributed in a year is really $10,000. That's $5,000 of free money that's going to get compounded over their lifetime. So I hope you guys understand that. I read that paragraph over because it's real important for you to understand. With all this in mind, consider the cost of being financially illiterate when making these one or two decisions. Now multiply that cost by all the decisions you make in your lifetime that have a financial component. The silent crisis affecting our communities. Financial literacy is a silent crisis that affects some communities. While it is an issue that cuts across all demographic lines or effects, it is low-income communities of every color that bear the brunt of these consequences. In these communities, the effects of financial literacy are not just visible. They manifest themselves in the form of predatory lending, poor credit, limited access to the American dream, and a distinct lack of hope. Here's a powerful thought for you. Sustaining poverty is a roof over your head, food on the table, reasonable access to life, care and healthcare, and the like. These are things that everyone should have. Things that society should find a way to make accessible for everyone. It's basic human dignity. And I would argue that doing this pays dividends and saves society money in the long term by taking on it on the front end. But that's another book for another day. I will tell you this much. All other forms of poverty are based on mindset. Because as Henry T. Ford said, whether you believe you can or believe that you can't, you're right. And arguably, it's what you don't know that you don't know, but that you think you know that's killing you. The free enterprise is the bedrock of the American economy, a promise of freedom and opportunity. The idea is simple. Provide people with the freedom to create, trade, and prosper. And you'll have a society where innovation thrives and wealth multiplies. However, this system can seem like an imperishable fortress for those who lack the basic financial literacy skills to navigate it. The ability to make wise financial decisions, from buying a home to investing in the stock market, is crucial for participating effectively in our free enterprise system. But if you don't understand the importance of credit scores, the impact of interest rates, or the benefits of investing early or regularly, you are effectively sidelined. It's not just about having access to the tools necessary for economic growth, like bank accounts or credit. It's about understanding how to use these tools effectively. Like I wrote at the beginning of the chapter, many people have access to credit cards, but without a proper understanding of interest rates, minimum payments, and the impact of maintaining a balance, these cards quickly become a pathway to crippling debt rather than a tool for building credit. Without a firm grasp of financial fundamentals, people are left playing the game they don't understand the rules of, like trying to play basketball without knowing how to shoot. I'm going to say it again, playing basketball without knowing how to shoot. If you know, I was one of the best in the city, but that's another story for another day. You have the potential for speed, performance, and freedom, but without the necessary skills, it's impossible to tap into this potential. And needless to say, can just be a plain dangerous to drive a high performance sports car with zero performance driver training behind you. You could hurt yourself. And if you're not super careful, those around you as well. That's because the high cost of financial literacy isn't defined to individual wallets or bank accounts. If it reverberates throughout our economy, slowing economic growth, exacerbating income inequality, and placing an increasing burden on public resources as people who haven't saved enough for retirement or other life needs turn to government assistance programs for help. This is why financial literacy isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. It's like food and water for living beings. It's the grease that cascades over the gears of the performance car. Without grease on the gears, the engine quickly seizes up. It may even blow up. In either case, neither the body nor the car can run very long or very well. The high performance car that is the American free enterprise system needs the grease of a financially literate population for it to run well and for a long time. Financial literacy not only restricts individual growth, it reinforces systematic financial inequality, creating a cycle that's difficult to break. High costs of financial services such as payday lending and predatory business practices, particularly in sectors like used cars and rent-owned goods, exploit those who lack financial knowledge and therefore have bad credit. These services compound financial strain, trapping people in the cycles of debt and furthering dragging down their credit scores, a fundamental measure of financial health. Nearly half of Black Americans have a credit score below 620. That's crazy. Which severely limits their ability to access affordable credit and contributes to a systematic wealth gap. I will dig into it deeper later in the book, but I'll leave this here for you to ponder on right now. I'm going to ask you, what if I told you that almost all our systematic societal problems can be found in 500 credit score communities? Mm. The problems were often not created there. I touch on white later too, but that's a really whole other book. But this is where they have taken root and where they proliferate. Black and brown and urban on poor right and rural, these underserved 500 credit score communities. Economic have the same financial problems and the same predatory businesses taking advantage of their financially uneducated populations. That's why it's important to read, y'all. There's a check cashier next to a payday lending store next to a rental-owned store, next to a title lending store, next to a pawn shop, and a church down the street, trying to make everyone feel just a little better about themselves once a week so people don't go absolutely nuts on society. The pastor in these churches double as informal, unofficial psychologists for those smart enough to admit they need someone to talk to about their financial problems and possibly their current state of depression. Compare the picture. I paint it with what you know of 700 credit score communities, irrespective of race or geographic stable. Very little drama, no check cashers, all due to 200 points on the credit score. That is the power and the promise of financial literacy. In a country where your credit score can determine where you live, where you work, and how much you pay for services, poor credit can be crippling. The existence of entire communities of low credit scoring individuals isn't simply a matter of an individual responsibility. It's a reflection of systematic issues that perpetrate financial inequality. When the focus is on surviving rather than thriving, planning for the future becomes a luxury. Home ownership, higher education, and retirement security milestones that are part and parcel of the American dream remain just that, dreams. I cannot solve all the system measures and embedding biases in our country alone. Even through a powerful organization like Operation Hope, it will take important public policy decisions. It will take important public policy decisions to do that. But I can tackle financial literacy. We can tear down the financial education barriers and begin to the American dream. There are actions to be taken that we can do ourselves, things that are within our power to do and to change right now. There is hope. I thank y'all. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. You know, I'm back. I hope you guys enjoyed Financial Literacy for All by John Hope Bryant. Later on or tomorrow, I'll be reading How Did We Get There? AKA Stories of Broken Capitalism. Keep your head up. Keep thriving. We global.